How are y'all doing, sports fans? And welcome to another edition of Breath of Fresh Air. I am your host, Charles Taylor, and I will be riding solo for this one because Patrick Brackett won't be able to join us. He's spending time with some family. So I'll be doing this one by myself. Before we get started on it, I just wanted to take the time to thank Patrick for helping me out this week with the other three shows. So it was a really busy week for us. And I just wanted to take the time to thank Patrick for helping me out with those shows. So let's get to a few of the topics we'll be talking about today. We'll preview college and the NFL, and we'll also talk about what's going on in Major League Baseball's playoffs as they started. Well, they actually got started Tuesday with the wild card games, but the division series started yesterday in the American League and will start in the National League today. So without further ado, let's get to college football first. We have a lot of trap games for teams who had big wins last week. And let's start with Georgia Tech and Clemson. This one is actually my upset alert. We know Clemson has a history of winning games they probably shouldn't win, although we picked them to beat Notre Dame last week. But they also have a history of losing games they should win. This is a game they should win. Georgia Tech has been struggling. They lost 3 in a row. Clemson, just like mentioned, is coming off of the win over Notre Dame. So the letdown possibility is there. I think Clemson will be able to pull this out. I want to believe the head coach, Dabo Swinney, has put together a new culture of where they don't have letdowns after big wins. So that's what I'm looking for on this one. But it will be tough dealing with the Georgia Tech team that runs the triple option offense. Not many teams in college run that offense, and having just a week to prepare after a big win for that offense could be pretty detrimental to Clemson, but I think they'll be able to handle their own. But this is my upset alert for this week. Other trap games, let's go down to Tuscaloosa, where Alabama will play Arkansas. Arkansas looks like they're trying to get back on track. They had a win in Knoxville against Tennessee last week, 24-20. And Alabama, of course, is coming off of the win over Georgia in Athens, 38-10. I think Alabama will be able to handle their own in this game as well, but it's definitely a trap game coming off of that win in Georgia. So look out for that one. Another trap game is Florida and Missouri. Florida destroyed, housed Ole Miss 38-10 last week. And they go into Missouri, and people forget Missouri, they are the two-time defending SEC East champions. So they will not let that go quietly. They're going to make all these teams earn everything. Florida comes in there rolling, and Florida's actually a surprise. I don't know if anybody expected Florida to look as good as they have, but here they are coming in, just rolling, just doing their thing, playing very good defense. The secondary, one of the best in the nation. And Missouri, they've been kind of struggling this year, but with that game being up in Columbia, Missouri, that won't be easy for Florida. So Florida is going to have to be careful for that one. Uh, Another trap game, which uh, is, is it really hurts me in the heart to talk about this one, but Oklahoma and Texas. This is the Red River Showdown, and of course, as you guys know, I bleed burnt orange. So I would love to sit there and say we are going to beat Oklahoma, but realistically, it does not look likely. Not unless we get better in a hurry. Texas got beat 50-7 last week by TCU. He had players tweeting at halftime, I guess, apparently, talking about they're ready to transfer to Texas A&M. It's just been horrible down in Austin. You have a lot of finger pointing going on, and everything is coming back on the head coach, Charlie Strong. I still believe in Charlie Strong. I still think he can turn this program around, but he's going to need a little bit more time. I know the folks down in Austin are a little bit impatient. They want to win now. They expect to contend for national championships, and that should be the expectation for a college like Texas. But we are in flux right now. We need patience. We need time to turn some things around. And I think Charlie Strong will be able to turn things around. I just don't know if it will start this week. I would love to say it would, but uh, I think we'll show up. All right. I think Texas will show up. Oklahoma, they had a big win over West Virginia last week, and they're coming in undefeated, ranked number 10. I still don't think Oklahoma is as good as that number 10 ranking, but man, we look bad right now. We look bad. I'll just say this. I don't want to say Oklahoma's going to win this game, but I will also say we will show up. All right, we will show up at least to the point where we're not blown out 50-7. All right, we will make this respectable. Next game, California and Utah. So Utah, I think, is the real deal. I think they will be able to really blow out California. I think California is another one of those overhyped teams. And everybody's talking about the quarterback, Jared Goff, and how he's one of the top NFL prospects. Look, Texas should have beat California when they played them. And from what I saw with Jared Goff, I think he's okay. I mean, actually, I'll give him good. I think he's a good quarterback, but not worth all the hype everybody is giving him. So I think this is where they expose Jared Goff. I think this is where Utah comes in and just really smacks California around. I have this being a blowout, especially with that game being in Salt Lake City. I have Utah winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And not only that, I think they will hang half 100 on California because California's defense is terrible. If Texas can put 44 points on them, I think Utah can put 50 points on them, or a double nickel even. I think this is going to be a blowout, and that California hype will go away soon after this game this weekend. On another note, USC went down. That's a shout out to Patrick. We know how much you love USC, but Utah or USC got beat by Washington last night, 17-12. So that's 2 losses for USC. And just like I told Patrick, everything will work itself out. So that high ranking USC had at the beginning of the year, they won't be ranked after this week. So there you go. Now let's move on to the NFL. And let's talk about the Texans. The Houston Texans got beat by the Indianapolis Colts 27-20. So now the Texans are 1-4, and the quarterback situation there is still a hot mess. They keep on going back and forth between Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett. Ryan Mallett started the game yesterday after being pulled in the game last week against the Atlanta Falcons, where the Falcons destroyed them 48-21. And Brian Hoyer came in, played pretty well in mop-up duty, and he came in the second quarter after Mallett got injured, I guess, with maybe the wind got knocked out of him on one of the hits. I still don't know the exact injury it was, but as soon as Brian Hoyer came in, the offense, I guess, got started rolling. He was able to lead them to a field goal, and then he threw the Hail Mary touchdown at the end of the first half. But the quarterback situation is still a mess. I am still a believer when Houston had the #1 draft choice in the 2014 NFL draft. They should have drafted a quarterback with that #1 pick instead of taking Jadeveon Clowney. By the way, what is he doing for you at this time? So they should have taken a quarterback, and now they tried to put a Band-Aid over the quarterback situation. It isn't working out at all. You continue to go back and forth between these quarterbacks who really aren't that great to begin with. And until that quarterback situation gets fixed, you will continue to see average or below average play from this Houston Texans team. And it's bad because the fans down in Houston, they deserve better from their professional football franchise. But it's not going to happen. Not with this quarterback situation going on. Not with Coach Bill O'Brien continuing to go back and forth with that situation. It's just a hot mess down there in Houston, and it's not going to get cleaned up. It's going to continue to be a hot mess, and it'll be reasonable to believe Houston will be probably 5-11, maybe 4-12, maybe 6-10. We'll see. It's okay, Houston. Now, I'm not trying to talk because my team doesn't look like they'll be too much better. The San Francisco 49ers. Although I think we can turn it around. I say we like I play for them, but hopefully they can turn it around. But things aren't looking good either. So don't worry. It looks like we'll be on the same boat watching the playoffs from home unless things turn around quickly. But let's get to some of that NFL action that is coming up. Two games in particular I really want to look at. One is Seattle going to Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati can beat Seattle pretty handily. If they continue to play the way they have been playing, Andy Dalton taking care of the football, AJ Green making plays, I think Cincinnati can go in here and beat Seattle pretty solidly by 10 to 14 points. Seattle's coming off a Monday night game against Detroit where they won on a controversial call, 13-10. And now they have to fly across country to Cincinnati to play a Bengals team who is 4-0 and looking like they're clicking on all cylinders. Everything looks bad if you're looking at it from a Seattle point of view. The offensive line is not playing good. Russell Wilson is running for his life back there, away from the pocket. And the defense, although they played pretty well against Detroit, they don't look the best. You can run the ball on Seattle. You can throw the ball on Seattle. I would love to see AJ Green go down the field and beat Richard Sherman deep on one or two occasions. And I think it can happen in this game. I have Cincinnati winning by 10, 14 points, especially if Marshawn Lynch, the running back for Seattle, does not come back and play in this game. I see it being a Cincinnati victory. Even if Marshawn Lynch did play, I still see a Cincinnati victory, but we'll see how it goes. I have Cincinnati winning that game. The other game that's catching my attention is the New England Patriots. They will be in Dallas to play the Cowboys, and Greg Hardy, the defensive end, is coming back after his 4-game suspension. And he's talking mess to Tom Brady, apparently. What a mistake. Why would you do that if you're Greg Hardy? You've seen Tom Brady play this year. This man is awfully motivated, playing angry from everything that happened over the offseason with the Deflategate. And now you want to start talking mess to him. Why would you do that if you're Greg Hardy? But besides all the other questionable comments he made during the press conference he had in the Cowboys locker room, this is another questionable tactic to me. I don't see this getting good for Dallas at all. As a matter of fact, I see a Cowboy burial going on. I see New England coming down here and destroying Dallas. I see them winning by probably 3 touchdowns. So Dallas will continue to go in their downward spiral, and they're very beat up team. I don't know the status of the middle linebacker, Sean Lee. Obviously, they're still missing Tony Romo. They're still missing wide receiver Des Bryant. They are just beaten up with the injuries. So the New England Patriots, the wrong team you want to play when you're having issues with injuries. I see New England continuing the roll, and they will remain undefeated after this week. Let's go to the Major League Baseball playoffs and talk a little bit about them. So the wild card games, you saw Houston go into New York and beat the Yankees 3-0, ending the Yankee season. that was a game I was wrong about. I thought Houston would lose that game. I think the score I picked was 7-3. And Houston came in there. Dallas Keuchel pitched 6 strong innings, and the bullpen came in and shut it down. Give props to Houston there. And they went to Kansas City last night and beat the Royals 5-2 to take a 1-0 lead in that American League Divisional Series. So give Houston a lot of credit for somebody that I thought would be done after Tuesday night. They're just doing their thing, proving me wrong. And the young team coming together, it looks like, at the right time. The other wild card game, the Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jake Arrieta, or excuse me, Arrieta, Jake Arrieta continues his impressive streak of pitching. This man has 31 scoreless innings in a row. He had 11 strikeouts with no walks. He did have 2 hit batsmen, but the man is a beast. And I remember when it was a conversation of who to pitch if the Cubs were in that wild card scenario. And a lot of people said John Lester, and for good reason. John Lester has been through a lot of battles with the Boston Red Sox. He definitely has postseason experience. But Jake Arrieta has emerged as the ace of that Cubs staff. And picking him to pitch that game was absolutely the right call. And I'm not just saying that because it happened to work out. No, I probably would have made that call before the Cubs got the wild card. If they would have been in that situation, then Arrieta is definitely the guy. The way he's been pitching, and it's definitely a bonus. I mean, nobody expected him to pitch the way he has been these last few months, but it gives the Cubs really a lot of flexibility. Now you're set up pretty good because John Lester starts game 1 today at St. Louis. What a series that will be. I look forward to that one. Again, I picked the Cardinals in 4. It would not surprise me at all, if the Cubs were able to pull that out. And if that does happen, remember Back in the Future's movie said the Cubs would win the World Series in 2015, this year. Right now, it is not looking off the wall. It could actually happen because these playoffs are wide open. Real quick, let me talk about the Texas Rangers. So they went into Toronto and beat the Blue Jays 5-3 in their American League Divisional Series, and they have Cole Hamels going in game 2 today. So that is interesting. If the Rangers win, they will be up 2-0 coming back to Arlington for game 3 and a potential game 4, depending on how that game goes. But look out for the Rangers. Remember, this series to me was really iffy. It was up in the air. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong about the prediction I made with Toronto winning the series. But yes, Texas got off to a good start and they beat David Price in the opener. So we'll see how everything turns out. Instead, the National League playoffs, they get started today with the Cubs and Cardinals, and the Mets and Dodgers will start their series later on tonight. Clayton Kershaw goes on the hill for the Dodgers. Well, that will do it for this edition of Breath of Fresh Air. Once again, I wanted to take the time to thank Patrick for helping me out with those shows over the week. And until next time, or he'll be back with us next week. Until next time, again, check out the Google Plus and Facebook pages, like the pages, tell your friends about it, and just continue to watch and tell me what you think about the criteria and how you think we're doing things. If we can make some improvements, let us know, and we will do what we can to make those improvements. If y'all have any requests about what you would like to see Patrick and me talk about, go ahead and make those requests, and we will definitely do what we can to meet those requests. So until next time, enjoy this weekend's college football action, the Major League Playoffs. You have some good soccer going on. Mexico plays the USA to see who will represent CONCACAF in the Confederations Cup for FIFA in 2017. There's a lot of stuff going on, but whatever you guys do, be safe, have a good weekend, and we will talk to you next week. I'm your host, Charles Taylor. Take care.